Just manifest it and it will come true. Sounds like wishful thinking, right? But here's the twist. Science shows your brain cannot actually tell the difference between imagine and doing. And that single fact changes everything about manifestation. In this video, I'll show you why your brain is naturally wired for manifestation, how visualization and focus physically rewire neural circuits, why stress and cortisol block manifestation, and how to break through. And finally, a practical brain-based routine you can start using tonight. Let's go! Let's start with the foundation. The human brain isn't just an organ of memory or emotion. At its core, the brain is a predicting machine. Its main job is to constantly anticipate the future, to guess what's coming next so you can survive and adapt. Every second your brain receives billions of signals from your senses, but it cannot process all of them. So what does it do? It filters. It decides what to pay attention to. And how does it decide? By focusing on what you expect or what you believe is important. This is why manifestation has a neurophysiological basis. When you set a clear intention, when you visualize a goal as if it's already real, your brain starts treating it as irrelevant. One key player here is the prefrontal cortex. This part of your brain sets goals, organizes action, and creates mental models of the future. When you practice manifestation, you're essentially programming your prefrontal cortex to prioritize your chosen reality. Another key player is the default mode network. This is the network that activates when you imagine, daydream, or visualize. It's built mental simulation. And when you visualize your goals vividly, your DMN lays down patterns that can later guide your real actions. Finally, the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, encodes those imaged scenarios. It doesn't fully distinguish between imagined and real. So by repeating visualization, you're actually training your memory systems to accept the future as if it's part of your life. Think about it. When you decide to buy a certain car, suddenly you see it everywhere. That's not a magic. That's your reticular activating system filtering reality based on your focus. Have you ever noticed this in your own life? Once you focus on something, you start spotting it everywhere. Now let's go deeper into the brain chemistry. Manifestation works not just because of focus, but because it engages your dopamine system. Most people think dopamine is a pleasure chemical. That's wrong. Dopamine is about motivation and anticipation. It's what drives you to move toward a goal. By the way, there is a full dopamine breakdown on my channel. You can check it out later. When you visualize your dream vividly, your brain gives you a small dopamine release. These tiny bursts feel rewarding, but more importantly, it reinforces the pathway, making you more likely to act. This is why writing your goals as if they are already achieved is powerful. For example, instead of writing "I want to be confident," you write "I am confident. I speak with clarity and calmness." Your brain gives you a dopamine hit as if it's part of the reality is already yours. Over time, these micro dopamine boosts create momentum. This is also why affirmations can work, not because of magic words, but because repeated positive self-talk strengthens dopamine pathways in the prefrontal cortex and basal ganglia. And here is the fascinating fact. Dopamine neurons don't just fire when you achieve something. They fire when you expect it. That means your anticipation of success can actually wire your brain for action. Now let's talk about neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. One of the most powerful aspects of manifestation is visualization, and neuroscience shows us why it works. Studies using fMRI scans reveal that when you visualize performing an action, your brain activates 70 to 80% of the same neurons as when you actually perform it. That means if you visualize yourself giving a confident speech, your brain is firing as if you were already on the stage. If you visualize yourself running faster, your motor cortex is strengthening those pathways without physical movements. Athletes have used this for decades. Olympic athletes combine physical training with mental imagery.
Visualizing it just mentally prepares you and you can kind of check that box off. And I think that's what we wanted to do.
In fact, research shows athletes who only visualize certain tasks improve almost as much as those who physically practice them. So when you use manifestation practices like visualization, you're literally creating new neural circuits. And the more you repeat, the stronger the circuits become. This is neuroplasticity in action. But let's be honest, manifestation doesn't always work. And here's why. When you're under stress, your brain is flooded with cortisol, and cortisol changes how your brain operates. Instead of engaging the prefrontal cortex, planning, focus, visualization, the stressed brain activates the amygdala, the fear and the threat detection center. That means instead of focusing on opportunities, your brain is scanning for danger. Instead of visualizing your goals, you imagine worst-case scenarios. This is why so many people try manifestation but say it doesn't work for me. It's not that the practice is wrong, it's the brain is locked in the survival mode. The fix? Calm the nervous system first. Activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest mode. One simple tool is the physiological side. Inhale deeply, add a second small inhale, then exhale slowly. 2 or 3 times and your body stress levels drop. When you're calmer, your prefrontal cortex comes back online. Now manifestation practices can actually take root. Earlier I mentioned that the brain filters reality. Let's dive deeper into that. The Reticular Activating System, or RAS, is a network of neurons in your brainstem that controls what sensory information reaches your conscious awareness. Think of it like nightclub bouncer.
Hi.
What's up? End of the line, please.
Really?
Yeah.
One of billions of sensory inputs, it only lets in what matches your focus and expectation. Manifestation works because it programs the RAS. When you set a clear intention, your RAS starts filtering the words to bring your opportunities aligned with it. That is why journaling daily about your goals is so effective. Each time you write, I am building a thriving business, your RAS adjusts its filter. Suddenly you notice network opportunities, business ideas, and resources that you previously ignored. It's not magic, it's selective attention. Now let's correct one big misconception. Manifestation is not about sitting back and waiting. Your brain isn't genie.
Can you make me a prince? Let's see.
Manifestation works when belief aligns with action. Here's why. When you truly believe something is possible, your brain enters a different neurophysiological state. Stress drops, dopamine increases, and motivation circuits activates. That state primes you to take small daily actions, and those actions reinforce the belief, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is why psychologists talk about the expectation effect. People who expect to improve often do better, even with the same resources, because their brains and behaviors align. So manifestations equal belief plus focus plus consistent daily actions. Now let's put it all together. Here is a simple routine you can start tonight. Step 1. Calm the nervous system. Do 2 minutes of deep breathing or physiological sigh. That lowers cortisol and brings your prefrontal cortex back online. Step 2. Visualize your goal. Close your eyes and imagine your desired reality in vivid detail. Use all senses. What do you see, hear, feel? Step number 3. Write it as reality. In your journal, write your goal in the present tense. I am, I have, I feel. This strengthens dopamine pathways. Step 4. Take one micro action. Do something small aligned with your goal. Send an email, make a call, read one page. Action wires the neural circuits. Step 5. End with gratitude. Think of 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude balances the limbic system and reinforces positivity. Repeat this daily. Over weeks and months, your brain literally rewires itself toward your goals. So, what have we learned? Manifestation is not magic, it's neurophysiology. The brain is a predicting machine. Dopamine motivates us when we visualize success. Neuroplasticity makes imaging practice almost as real as physical. Stress blocks manifestation by shutting down the prefrontal cortex. The reticular activating system filters reality toward our focus. Belief plus micro-action create self-fulfilling prophecy. The formula is simple. Calm the mind, visualize the goal, act daily. And remember, manifestation is not about waiting for life to change. It's about using your brain to create the change. See you in the next one.